live with Littledata episode for 2023. It's the end of December and we're wrapping up for the year. But I thought it'd be good to recap some of the great guests we've had on this, let's call it a show, a live stream over the last 6 months, and what were some of the highlights we learned. So what I want to do is to go back through the year and just really look at what are some of been the highlights of what we've seen this year. So number one is the importance of tracking lifetime customer value, and this is really highlighted chatting to Oliver from Sweet Analytics.
To track back lifetime value to the same user. So if you acquire, let's say you spend $20 acquiring someone on Facebook now, but they've basically zero profit because you discounted so heavily. That's okay, as long as you can prove that campaign, as you say, brought a certain number to purchase in December or January or February.
Yeah. I mean, for me, that's the key metric. To be honest, if people aren't running their business based on lifetime value and understanding what their allowable cost to acquire a customer is based on lifetime value rather than AOV, then they're monitoring the wrong thing.
And I couldn't echo that sentiment more. I think that, as we'll cover in one of the feature points, I think if you want to get back to basics in 2024, we need to start looking at that lifetime value profitability or lifetime profitability, because honestly, brands that are acquiring customers based on just this last click and first time purchase, or rather one time purchase, are not going to be able to win out long term, versus brands who are actually understanding which campaigns and channels bring them lifetime profitable customers. So the second thing we learned is just how important it is to continue to track UTMs, and this is with George from MeasureLab.
I mean, most people are probably familiar with UTMs and UTM tracking. It's just most people forget to use them. So quite often happen. Oh, how did this campaign perform, or how many conversions did we get from this email that we just sent? And so if you start digging around, and it just ends up being actually no campaign tagging was included, and so we can't actually see that result. But the best guess you can do is when you're looking at a week or month-on-month increase, and then you can sort of assume in a way, or finger in the air, so say, okay, that's been from that campaign, that email. But yeah, I mean, lack of UTMs is always a scary thing, especially when you're trying to report on the success of certain campaigns.
So I think we see that all the time, where you can have as clever a setup of Google Analytics or other marketing tools you like, but if you're not actually got a consistent way of tracking the campaign tagging, and actually importantly, if that campaign tagging does not match the default channel group in Google Analytics, it's very hard to get out of the box reports. You can go back and create some custom groupings or custom reports based on maybe the typo or the miscategorization of those, but it's way easier to get them right the first time by just putting them, maybe just having them on a spreadsheet of which campaigns are tracked by which keywords. I think that it sounds really noddy, it sounds really basic, but I see lots of brands making their reporting a lot more complicated by not doing that at the start. So I think beyond doing that in Google Analytics, as I said, the other thing we talked about was BigQuery, and we talked about BigQuery a lot in this live stream because we believe that for brands beyond a certain scale, it provides a much more flexible way of doing reporting, but also it allows even if you don't have the right skill set right now to make use of it, even if you're a bit worried about the idea of a data warehouse generally, we think BigQuery provides the kind of future proofing you need as a brand to make sure you're going to have the data that's useful in a year, 2-3 years time.
What is BigQuery?
BigQuery is a product within something called the Google Cloud Platform, and it's a suite of tools for cloud engineering, and BigQuery is their data warehouse. So the way I like to think about it is that BigQuery is a spreadsheet or Google Sheet that lives in the cloud. You don't see it, but it exists, and it's just full of lots and lots of data. And the scale of it is the reason why we call it a database rather than keeping it into a Google Sheet. I mean, the thing is, Google Analytics is powered by BigQuery itself. So Google's been using BigQuery to power our version of Google Analytics for many, many, many years. So it's actually what they've done in the context of Google Analytics 4 specifically is they've surfaced that to us now. So anyone with a Google Analytics 4 property can actually keep a copy of their raw data, which before we weren't able to do in Universal Analytics unless we went beyond the paywall of Google Analytics 360.
So I think BigQuery negates some of what I think is the most cutting criticism of Google Analytics, that it's not truly your own stack. You can't you can't do your own modeling of it. You can't sort of use it with AI to query and to find patterns, and that it doesn't store it forever. Well, in BigQuery, those things are all true. You can take exactly the same stuff that you're currently collecting for Google Analytics and store it forever and use it with other algorithms. So I believe it's a no-brainer. Now, a bit of a misstep or confusion in 2024 for Google Analytics was around reporting identity and Google Signals. So this was the sort of state of play early in the year.
So Google developed this like tiered system of analyzing users. So it's got a user ID, then it can also use Google Signals, and then you've got device ID. So Google Signals being sort of browsing on a device in a window, and you've kind of consented to actually share your user profile information with Google so that they can stitch you across devices, cross sessions. So up until recently, Google Signals, if you're using that in the reporting identity, applies thresholding in your reports, which essentially means it will treat the user's metric as a piece of demographic information. So if you start getting sort of like too specific to a user, then it will kind of omit that data from your report, which is obviously not what we want for any kind of analysis. We want as much data as possible.
So yes, thresholding was a real problem for Google Analytics, and what we were advising customers to do is to basically turn off the use of Google Signals in reporting identities. There's a help article on our help guide of how to do that. The problem was this little warning triangle in the report saying, hey, we can't show you all the data. It's heavily sampled because otherwise we might inadvertently show personal profiles. We might basically identify someone by mistake. So I think it was a whole can of worms. What Google ended up doing is announcing in early December that they're actually deprecating the use of Google Signals in Google Analytics, which means from February that it won't be included in the reports and won't be an option. But as I said, frankly, you can turn off now, and that's what we'd advise everyone to do. Whether it was buggy or whether it was just constrained by Google's privacy concerns or a bit of both, Google Signals never really added value to the profiles in Google Analytics in the way they were supposed to. So yeah, the demise of Google Signals, not a big loss, but still very relevant still useful for demographic reports. So we do recommend you turn Google Signals on, just not using reporting identity, which is what will be the default from February. Now, we've also released quite a few features for the Littledata over the last few months. Most recently, revamp of the settings page, our live order, our Littledata assisted revenue. But perhaps one of the most significant ones was our live order feed early in the year.
Under the weekly orders process widget, you'll have a button that says View Live Order Feed. And so essentially, the live order feed is a real-time order tracker that tracks the latest 50 orders that have been placed on your store. And it's mainly made out of two main components. So on the left side, you will have the last 50 orders that have happened on your store. And if you click any of these orders, you will see the details of it.
So I guess for some stores, this is going to, the high order volumes, this is going to update in real time. But I guess for some stores, that 50 orders might happen over a number of days.
So yeah, live orders feed basically allows you to go and check and reference every order and that is being tracked by Littledata and that it's actually fed through to the destinations. So this is really delivering on our core promise that we're processing 100% of your revenue and feeding that through, including all of the recurring orders, upsells, refunds, cancellations, order edits, anything like that that might affect the revenue being tracked and therefore the accuracy of your reporting for marketing and your marketing targeting. it also allows you to give total confidence when you install Littledata that is happening, that the setup is done in real time. So what we were finding is that although it's magic when you set up Littledata, it's very quick and easy. That led to a lot of customers not truly believing that it was all working as intended. So live orders feed, you go and see that in Littledata account today. If you haven't got Littledata, again, the idea is that you can see 100% of your revenue in any of the marketing destinations, marketing channels that you connect to. So there'll be more from Littledata in terms of products in 2024. The most exciting one coming up is our new integration with Klaviyo, our Klaviyo destination. This will allow for the same kind of accurate reporting identities or profile information that you see in like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, etc. Doing this for Klaviyo, so enhancing the effectiveness of Klaviyo campaigns, particularly abandoned cart and abandoned checkout. So if you're interested in that, do sign up for our private beta, which will be starting in a couple of months. So finally, kind of, what are the predictions for 2024? I caught up with Tim Richardson and chatted about this a couple of weeks ago.
What are your sort of general e-commerce predictions for 2024?
My big prediction or suggestion for 2024 is get back to basics. Don't worry about all of this shiny shit. Just get back to basics. And if you're a brand, just get back to basics. Focus on the product and your marketing, which are kind of the same thing. Focus on things like post-purchase experience. It's a massive low-hanging fruit. Just real basic stuff, right? And then on the agency front, yeah, get back to basics, focus on your positioning, remove all the copy and the fluff that most agencies do, create a strategic partner program, keep that partner program really small, and you'll win. Simple as that.
Yeah. So yeah, I concur with Tim. I think 2023 was a year when a lot of people did strip out lots of stuff, but I think there's a need in 2024 to actually work out what's really driving your business. And I would hope that Littledata and accurate data is at the heart of that. So my belief is that in order for brands to truly get the return on investment they need from paid channels, Google, Meta, TikTok, but also own channels like Klaviyo, what they need is super accurate data fed into those channels. So it's not just about reporting; it's about getting the efficiencies from those algorithms. Frankly, all these big tech giants have invested heavily in recommendation and targeting algorithms that are only as good as the data you feed it. So if you're only feeding Google, Meta, etc., with 80% of your revenue, you're only going to get 80% efficiency of the campaign targeting. So I guess my simple message in getting back to basics in 2024 would be, look at your data connectors, look at the quality of the reports you're getting from your main marketing channels, and really question whether that's good enough for you as a brand as we scale. And if you look at the cost of a tool at Littledata, is that going to enhance probably giving you 100 times return on investment in terms of the extra marketing dollars saved or marketing dollars better spent by the better quality of that data feed. So I hope we can do more together in 2024. We'll be continuing these live streams. They've been popular, and we've got lots of exciting guests lined up for the next couple of months. So I look forward to hearing more from you, more questions, more suggestions for topics. And in the meantime, have a very happy new year.